Clear, dangerous, and focused. I'm talking you're thinking bigger. You're making promises to yourself that feel real. You're mentally spending money that you haven't even made yet. You're seeing a future that you can almost touch. There's a version of you that shows up every single week like clockwork, and that's the weekend version of you. And then Monday hits, and then Tuesday, and then the moment hits where you realize that the week has already started taking its toll on you, and you're no longer the same person you were when you said that you were ready. But that's not because you changed your mind. That's not because you stopped wanting it, but because the modern world, the world that we live in, is built to sedate you, and you don't even notice it's happening. Many people will say things like, you're not lazy, but that's not the case. There's a chance with a high probability that you are lazy. And food shows up to your door, entertainment never ends, every app is designed to remove friction, and now you can ask AI to do all the thinking. So without realizing it, you get trained into a posture where you consume first and you create later. Later becomes after work becomes when you're tired becomes tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week. And then you wake up and you realize that you've been giving your job 40 plus hours a week, every week for years. 40 plus hours of pressure, 40 plus hours of structure, 40 plus hours of reps, 40 plus hours inside systems, communication, people's problem, and performance. And you keep calling it a trap. But what if it's a gold mine? What if your 9 to 5 is not the reason that you can't build a business, but what if it's the reason that you can? What if the missing piece is more than just information? What if the missing piece is momentum and the strategy to build the momentum while you're still working? So in this episode, I'm gonna say what most people are actually scared to say. You don't need more information. You need a rhythm that produces momentum, and you need to stop waiting until after work to become an entrepreneur. And with that being said, I want to welcome you to episode 39 of Everything Entrepreneurship with Jerome. This is the place, this is the home, this is the podcast for ambitious professionals who are chasing their dreams, who are building their dreams in between meetings, after work, and before the sun rises. If this is your first time here, make sure you're in for a treat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so other people can get this message. Today I'm talking about not only the significance of momentum, but how you can build it in your week, no matter if you live a chaotic life, a normal life, if you have a lot of responsibility or a few. I'm going to bring you up to speed as to what I'm up to, what we're working on, and I'm going to give I got some good feedback over that little marketing thing last week on how to name a business. So I'm going to give you some just broad overview basics of SEO. And if you do have a service-based business or location-based business, how you can rank on Google, and maybe even ChatGPT. But with that being said, let's get into this episode. I'm excited. So yeah, without further ado, let's get it. All right, now let me start this off by saying to call somebody or an audience lazy is not professional, though it can objectively and honestly be the case. So let me break this down and let's back up for a second, right? Right now is the easiest time to live compared to any time prior. We have access to more information than any generation in history. If information was the missing piece to have a profitable business, everybody would be rich, but that's not the case. You have podcasts, you have YouTube, you have templates, you have AI, you have answers to so many questions. So let's talk about exactly what's happening. Our environments are built for comfort. Everything is on demand, everything is instant, everything is basically frictionless. So the moment that you do feel friction, your brain reaches for relief. That's why your phone wins. That's why your couch wins. That's why scrolling wins. That's why let me just watch one more episode wins. And then next, because nobody else is going to tell you this for some reason, but if you wait until after work to start working on your business, you're already behind, because work drains your attention. Work drains your decision energy. Work drains the ambition that you're putting into somebody else's dream. And then you get home and you're surprised as to why you can't be productive, but home is not supposed to be where you build. Home is supposed to be where you decompress. Now let me translate that into something that you can actually use today. Now I was going to break down 2 of my frameworks that I teach in my Employee to Entrepreneur Masterclass, but because this is a podcast and I made a commitment to keep these clean, high level, yet still valuable, I'm going to touch on them, but I won't go in depth. If you want more information on that, reach out to me. But I do plan on making individual videos that could probably span over an hour. I'll put it like this. If you wait until after work to start working on your business, That's basically a cold start. You're already exhausted throughout the day. You've made too many decisions and you're stressed out. Who knows? Anything could have happened. You get off work and then you have, let's say, 30 minutes aside to work on your business and you don't feel like it. Why is that? Because it's a cold start. You have no momentum. You have to literally pull all your energy together, not motivation, but you have to figure out a way to get on it. Opposed to, imagine if you were already in motion. Imagine if you already were able to identify ways that you're growing as an entrepreneur, things that you can apply to your business while you're already working. And then you get off work in that same 30-minute window, you can actually execute because you're already in motion. You're using the momentum of already starting within the gold mine of a 9 to 5 that you're already in. So by the time you're off work, it doesn't feel bad or it doesn't feel wrong. You don't even give into the feeling of not wanting to do it because you're already in motion, so it makes sense. Everything that I teach is structured entrepreneurship. It's not meant to give you complete freedom, and again, it's not meant to restrain you or constrain you completely. It's about to give you some structure so that the ebbs and flows throughout your day, throughout your life, can go the way they need to go and you can still get work done. Now, in the one framework, S.C.O.P.E, that's primarily to leverage your 9 to 5. The second framework, R.E.S.E.T, is basically meant to leverage your 5 to 9. And obviously, if you're already part of the community, if you're already subscribed and watch these episodes, you know I don't mean specifically 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Everybody has different schedules. Everybody works different hours, 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours. But what I'm getting at is this. In that S.C.O.P.E framework, I give you 5 different things you could focus on while you're working that are going to benefit you. And as it benefits you, you can apply it to your business, and all that ultimately ends up benefiting your company. Let me make this clear. As an employer who has had employees work on their specific business while I'm paying them to work on my business, it is infuriating and basically disrespectful to do that. So I'm never going to say, hey, while you're clocked in, work on your business. Screw your employer. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is you're already developing as an entrepreneur, as a business owner in the job that you do, no matter how important or insignificant you believe your role is to your company. And if you simply have a perspective shift and you identify these things and focus on these things, then at that point, you're able to identify how, okay, I do have skills of a successful business owner. Okay, you know what? I am around these people that I can get information from. You know, I'm not going to go super in depth, but I do want to at least touch on them a little bit to give you an example of what I mean. S.C.O.P.E is the framework for your 9 to 5, S.C.O.P.E. So let me break them down. S is for skill leverage. The skill that you are paid for can become the foundation of your business. Your job is paid practice. C is communication and action. Businesses are built on communication. Your workplace is a daily case study. Watch how objections get handled and how messaging gets approved. O, operational awareness. Understanding systems is the backbone of a scalable business. Study how work gets done to finish and apply it to your own execution. People intelligence. Every coworker, manager, and customer is insight or opportunity waiting to be discovered. Listen harder, network intentionally, take notes. E, earnings discipline. Your paycheck is your first investor. Treat it like launch capital. You basically use it to fund your development. By taking into account that every single day you can go to work and still do your job, but be more conscious of and focus on one of these 5 allows you to develop better as a person, which can benefit your business. And again, as it benefits your business, it ends up benefiting your employer. Briefly, this is one thing that I'm working about, bridging the gap. That's why I'm hosting meetings with different employers, talking to different entrepreneur employees, obviously through my consultations. And I do this because not every employer right now can up commission percentages or give out bonuses or give out raises. So I think that their employees that are feeling the squeeze of the economy and things getting more expensive should be able to leverage what they already are tapping in. They should be able to leverage what they don't even know is there. They should be able to leverage the gold mine that they're sitting on, basically. And by focusing on one of these every single day, by the time you do get off work and it is time for you to work on your business, your brain is moving differently. Your brain is seeing things differently. And because of that, getting the work done is second nature. Even if you got a bad text message, even if it's your responsibility to pick up the kids after work, even if you have all these other things that come up that you weren't expecting, even if you just had a bad day, we're doing all of this so that we can ultimately build a habit, because a habit is hard to break. And then from a habit, we want to build a standard, because a habit, once you build it, is hard to break. But your standards, you're typically not going to break those. So that's the first framework, right? And then when it comes to reset, I made a video a couple months ago, tapping into the reset ritual. This is how you actually get the work done. You know, just because you have all of this in mind and you have the right mindset doesn't mean that life's not going to stop lifing, you know? So you have to be able to find a way to constantly, if you fell off or if you need to get work done and you feel stuck, to do that. And that's what the reset ritual is. Very briefly, because I already broke down the one, I might as well break down the other. R is root your momentum. Set tomorrow's task tonight and place it where you cannot ignore it. E, edit your environment. Make your workplace ready and energy boosting anywhere you execute. S, speak your why. Say the goal aloud and affirm why you're doing this. E again, this time for execute the mission. Work the focus block that you've already decided. 30, 40, 50, an hour, it doesn't matter. T, tag the next win. Acknowledge progress and then write the next task so you stay ready. By doing these, and this is just some KJC basics, some everything entrepreneurship basics, and I feel like I'll go more in depth in a deep dive video, but this is how my goal is to make you doing the work effortless. And in order to do that in a chaotic world, because I don't know the context of your situation, I have to look at what are the things that are constant. One thing that's constant is you're going to work. And that each letter, that S.C.O.P.E, applies to every job. It doesn't matter if you're entry level, it doesn't matter if you're a C-suite executive. Like, you can tap into these things every single day and it will benefit you. The reset ritual, again, this is rooted in psychology. Like, what is it that anybody can do? It doesn't matter if you had good intentions and you fell off and the night is already almost over. You can reset. The day is not lost. Just because you failed does not mean you're a failure. And that's what we're tapping into. So momentum allows you to do the work when you don't want to, or the days that it doesn't feel good. I don't know, I'm going to go deeper and give actual examples and everything like that in the deep dive, but that's basically what I mean. So with that being said, let's transition into everybody's favorite part of the episode. What's KJC been up to? So I'm excited because I'm scheduling many meetings right now to basically vie out not just the best of individual services, but also to see who I can partner up with for a series that I'm going to do in starting a business. The actual resources that are worth it, whether they're free or whether they're paid. And there are a lot of companies right now that are lowering the barrier of entry for smaller businesses and entrepreneurs to use their services. What do I mean by that? 2019, this is just one example, right? 2019, blip billboards. Now, they didn't come out in 2019, but that's when I came across them. And I basically saw that, oh, I can put up an advertisement on a digital billboard. And there was basically, it was almost self-service and there was no like minimum. I think now it's like $5 a day, $10 a day, whatever it might be. And at that point, they had a couple hundred billboards all across America. So I was able to pick a couple. They had a couple in Jersey. At that point, I picked a couple in North Jersey, and I was able to set up a whole campaign, and I was able to get my first billboard up for a relatively cheap price or inexpensive price, especially for back then, compared to having to dedicate almost $1,000 to a physical billboard that'll be there for a minimum of a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it might be. And That's an example of a company that's lowering the barrier of entry for more people to tap into their service at a lower level. Small businesses that weren't making a specific threshold of income or needing ROI, just want that exposure, as well as entrepreneurs that had a specific smaller venture or startup can leverage those, at least in this instance, those digital billboards. So the same way that now there's like 5 companies out here that are doing digital billboards, there's 10 companies that are doing CCTV, there's 20 companies that are doing geofencing, there's 8 companies that are doing SMS. I'm just hosting conversations with all of them to see who I can make the best package for and or push not only on this podcast, but in the content that I'm making as the go-to for that specific realm, right? So I'm really excited for that because this is allowing me to not only see what I can leverage for the podcast and give actual behind the scenes real-time footage and feedback and value, but it also creates content for you guys, which is pretty cool. I saw a couple things throughout the week that stood out. Mainly, OpenAI, ChatGPT basically is testing, or not testing, they're going forward with allowing ads to service on free or the lowest tier account, $7 or $8, something like that. And many people are like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. What are they doing? But anybody that's in the SEO or GEO space has known that this is a move that they were going to implement sooner or later, right? Let's just say this is like step 2, 3, or 4 out of a 4 or 5 step plan. Step number 1 is to get it to work. 2022, 2023, they came out, it looked crazy. It didn't work as well, but now it's more efficient, right? Step number 2, they wanted to make sure that people used it, right? We were able to see, especially if you're a marketer this or last year, you're able to see halfway through the year between like March and July that there was a split in between impressions and clicks. Just about everybody had more impressions than clicks compared to the previous year, but clicks seemed to do a little bit of a dip because more people were using LLMs like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gronk, Claude, all of them for their searches. So there weren't as many clicks on Google, though Google still stayed the #1 search engine optimization platform. And then step number 3 at that point. So step 1 was to get it out, make sure it worked. Number 2 was to make sure that people were using it. Step number 3 now is rolling out ads, as you see that they're going to be testing. And I'm curious to see their ads manager, or like their back end, B2B, to see how people can service them, if it's going to align with what people are searching organically, if they're going to make their own ads and give a kickback or a commission to the advertiser. I don't know. I'm curious to find out how that's going to be built out. And then step 4, what's coming up soon, most likely, is they're going to have their own internet browser, similar to how Google has Google Chrome and has all of your information down to a T. I guarantee that's what ChatGPT is going to want to do, especially with the amount of money that they're getting, investments that they're getting, and the level of dependency that we're putting on AI. So that's just interesting, you know. Don't mind me just nerding out a little bit, but that happened this week, and I saw that. I was like, huh, interesting. Knew it was coming, but sooner than I thought. I thought it'd be like Q2 this year, but whatever. Now let's transition to the last segment of the day. I did have a couple people reach out. And first off, if you are listening to this on Apple Music or Spotify, the best way to consume this is YouTube. So make sure you go to YouTube, hit subscribe. But my Instagram DMs through somebody that listened to it and discovered it on Spotify, I believe, said they really did like that little marketing segment where I showed you guys what are some best practices for names. So I said, you know what? I do like that too, because it allows me not only to nerd out about the stuff that I'm in all day, every day, and I obsess about and keep up to date with, but I can also equip you guys with different marketing tactics and strategies that you can apply that nobody else is talking about. Like, you're coming here for entrepreneurship, but I'm also going to give you the marketing things you need to execute and just shine, right? So today I'm just going to give a very brief overview of SEO right now. The same way if you were a client and I'm over here looking over or just doing an audit and just breaking down the significance of SEO and ranking and what it means and stuff like that, I'm going to just put it as plainly as possible, right? So when people talk about SEO, they're talking about search engine optimization, basically the organic or free methods that you use to boost the ranking of your website across the internet, right? Search engine optimization, search engines such as Google, Yahoo, Bing, like that, right? And then another term you're going to hear me use is LLMs, large language models, just like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gronk, all those, right? So right now, because it changes, it changes every couple months, but as of right now, in order to show up on Google, Google wants you to have a Google. This is more so for people that have a business that's like a product or service business that has a physical location, right? So I'm not talking about just strictly online businesses, but keep this in mind because you can still rank. You can still rank from this information. So Google takes into account your Google business profile more than almost anything. They put a lot of weight on that. Is your Google business profile filled out? Do you have all the information filled out? Are you using all the features? Features like posts. They're not a social media platform, but they want you posting frequently. It can be daily, it can be weekly, but they want you posting on that. Are you uploading pictures frequently? Are you uploading videos? Is it not stock? Is it all yours? Are you getting reviews? Are you responding to the reviews? Soon they're going to be phasing out the Q&As, but are you responding to questions by giving answers? How much are you using and how much information are you feeding into your Google business profile? Quick KJC tip. You can, I shouldn't even be telling y'all this, but I'm not gatekeeping. People say that and don't really give information that you can't access, but to gatekeep means you're keeping people away from something. So I'm opening the gate so you know. By not manipulating, but by exploiting, deriving full benefit from, that's a word I love, by exploiting your Google business profile, i.e. making sure that you don't keyword stuff, but you have solid keywords in your description, but also strategically use your services and descriptions. I believe one gives you a 300 character limit, another one gives you a 1500 character limit. I got to update the actual numbers. But basically, products are customer facing. If somebody goes on Google Business Profile, they can see the products. You're going to want to have a list of all the products that you offer, same as the services, with very descriptive descriptions. Not keyword stuffing, but using variations of the keywords that you're trying to rank for, as well as you want to put in some of the service areas within context because it has to make sense. But you have to put in some of the service areas like cities, towns, etc., that you service within those descriptions of those products. So products are customer facing, services are more so Google facing. This allows you more room to put from the preset business categories that they have, the different services that you offer. And within that, again, it allows all those characters, you can fill that out to the max without keyword stuffing and within context of different variations of the keywords, different service areas. And even if you serve, let's say 20 different cities, I would use the city names. I wouldn't just use zip codes. You can use 5 in this description, another 6 in this description, 3 in this description, not the exact same, but rotate them. But by doing this, this is going to skyrocket and boost your ranking in Google, right? They take priority of the Google business profile, and then everybody should know, or everybody in SEO should know, a website ranks off of, or the Google ranking shows you based off of 3 things: your proximity, relevance, your relevance, and your prominence. Proximity. Where are you, or where is your business in relation to exactly where the person that made the query or the Google search? So if I'm in my house, there's a reason why they're not going to show me somebody 20 miles away. Right now, it's about a 5-mile radius, right? So they're going to show me, if I'm looking for coffee, they're going to show me coffee places generally within about 5 miles. Relevance on their Google business profile, on their homepage, and then their actual individual pages, because right now that's the priority, that's the hierarchy: Google business page, homepage, and then the actual pages themselves. Like, are you able to answer what he's looking for? He's looking for a specific type of coffee. Do you mention that on your Google business profile, or your actual homepage? And if you do, that's more points for you. And then prominence. Like, are you a well-known, are you a trusted site? Are you linking to anybody? Is anybody linking to you? Are you speaking the language that we speak, which is like schema markup, JSON right now, JSON schema markup? Like, is that on your actual pages and stuff like that? Don't mind me, I am nerding out a little bit. But these are the things that in a millisecond that Google and these search engines are taking into consideration as they figure out who and what order they're going to prioritize putting people in front of you. So if you're an entrepreneurial employee and you're trying to get your business off the ground, you don't need to worry about this completely right now. But the same as last week when I said you have to be conscious of the name of your business, how it can be used, the subtitle, stuff like that. That's huge. Because again, if I have Kyle's Coffee, Kyle's Coffee already is going to do better than if I just say Kyle's Drinks, because coffee is the primary drink that I serve. And by doing that, if somebody searches coffee in the Google Business Profile, it's going to reach to more people. And then the subtitle, depending on everything else I want, Kyle's Coffee, biscuits, and pancakes. By doing that, it also extends my reach to those searches. So again, you don't need to master this, especially if you're working and you're getting your business off the ground. Anybody that is watching this that's a full-fledged entrepreneur, business owner, take notes, rewatch this. Hit me up if you want some one-on-one insight, because SEO, leaning into, they call it so many things now, GEO, right? Generative ranking in ChatGPT is evolving every day. And right now, though I'm in SEO spaces, one of the best ways to rank in GEO is to rank well in SEO, right? Obviously, there's things like brand placements, brand mentions. Right now, they're putting a lot of weight on Reddit and stuff like that. As in, like, when you ask ChatGPT a question, who it's going to service or who they're going to say is the best business or brand to suggest. You're like, how do they do that? Well, obviously, some people are like, well, they're probably doing some backdoor deals where they're spending money and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, especially if they're coming out with ads, they're taking into consideration like everything that Google's taken, but even more. Because as I said before, there's been a split between impressions and clicks, because right now more people are doing long form or long tail searches, opposed to just saying coffee near me. They might say, I'm looking for a coffee shop that sells matcha because I saw, or because it's trending right now on social media. And by doing that, it expands everything it's going to show you. But that was my little nerd out segment. This is how you can get your SEO established, really take care of and fill out that Google Business Profile. I'm not saying you don't have to worry about your individual pages, but you definitely want to make sure that your home page is on point mentioning the services or products that you service. You want to make sure that you have a mention at least of the areas that you service as well. Embed a map on there. Make sure you got some schema markup, some basic stuff. And that'll put you ahead of many people that don't know what they're doing. But yeah, that's what I got. That's my episode. If you have any questions, send them down below. You can build momentum this week. You really can. It just takes getting a rhythm. Get the rhythm so you can build momentum. From momentum, it's going to become a habit. And as it becomes a habit, you can have a new standard. The same way the person that never went to the gym compared to the person that's now grown into going to the gym regardless 5 days a week, it's a standard that they have. They find a way no matter what. But if you tell that same person when they first started, they're going to be like, I don't have time. I can't make time. That's going to be you going from before to after. I believe in you. Make sure you understand that all you got to worry about is your next best step. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. If you're not subscribed already, hit that button and watch out for my next video. All right. Bye.